Hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Knowledge System and a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy, which is one of the premier institutions in India, and it offers examination coaching for UPSC CSC, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level and CLAT examinations. About me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Tumala, and my credentials are I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I take up international relations and internal security and the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session will certainly help you because throughout my session I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases from the Hindu newspaper, wherein we will identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which will be useful for the preliminary examination of UPSC. And while you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing, your answers for the mains examinations would also be precise and concise, and thereby you can score higher marks for the mains examinations. So this session at AKS IAS Academy will certainly help you to score more marks or higher marks in the mains 2020, and it will also help you to crack prelims and mains for 2021. And this session is in regards to the DNA, that is daily news analysis of the Hindu newspaper of today's, that is 21st December 2020. And before we get into the DNA of the newspaper, we will look at the quote of the day. And the quote of the day says that people are successful because. Why are people successful? Because they think and act. They think and act like a successful people. So even we all who would wish to be a successful should always think and also act that we are successful people. So certainly we would be a successful one. And now we'll get into the news of the Hindu newspaper. And Nepal is now set to face a fresh elections. So we will look at why is Nepal going ahead with the fresh elections, and why the Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has recommended, and in turn the emergency meeting has taken place on December 20, and then the Prime Minister of Nepal KP Sharma Oli has recommended the dissolution of the Parliament of Nepal. And once he has recommended to dissolve the Parliament of Nepal, he has in turn called for a general elections. So certainly there is a scenario wherein the political changes are taking place in the Nepal, and thereby the Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has recommended to dissolve the Parliament of Nepal and called for a general election. And once he has recommended, the dissolution of the Parliament of Nepal was ratified by the President of Nepal, that is Bidya Devi Bhandari. Now the President who has ratified the dissolution of the Parliament of Nepal, and wherein KP Sharma Oli, the Prime Minister, has recommended for general elections, has been ratified by the President Bidya Devi Bhandari. And KP Sharma Oli, certainly if you look at what are the reasons for him why he has gone ahead with the recommendation of the dissolution of the Parliament of Nepal, is because he certainly has the mandate to govern Nepal, but there are various problems which are lingering in the Parliament of Nepal, wherein Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli is facing a lot of problems from the higher ranks, from the ruling party, that is the senior leaders, wherein from the ruling party are unable to have or to budge or to go along with the Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. So he has identified that, and thereby he has gone ahead with dissolution of the Parliament of Nepal. That means he has gone ahead with recommending the dissolution and called for a general elections. And this move, which is a dramatic move, which has come after tensions which KP Sharma Oli, the Prime Minister of Nepal, had with the person, that is Pushpa Kamal Dahal, is also popularly called as Prachanda. So Prachanda has been demanding the change of the style of governance, wherein KP Sharma Oli is actually being taking up during the course of his prime ministership, but that is not liked by the opposition also, that is Pushpa Kamal Dahal, and Prachanda, that is, he has demanded the change in the style of functioning or the governance wherein Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli is taking up. And the president has called for two-phase elections, and the first phase will be held on April 30 and May 10th of 2021. And we have seen that Nepal has gone ahead or gone for elections in November December of 2017, and wherein there was election for the 275 member, that is, you have the Nepal parliament, you call it as Pratinidhi Sabha, and this Pratinidhi Sabha is expected to serve for full year term, but because of the various tensions wherein KP Sharma Oli is having within his party and from the opposition also, he has recommended for the dissolution of the Nepal parliament and has gone for the general elections. And this move in regards to dissolution of the parliament has a strong criticism from the opposition and also from the ruling coalition. So this is the information we need focus, that is, we have India with neighboring countries, that is India with Nepal, the bilateral relations. How? Because we are definitely focusing at the political changes which are taking place in Nepal, because we have seen that India and Nepal had a land boundary agreement wherein in regards to the Kalapani we had problems, and also Nepal government has come up with the new Nepal parliamentary or new Nepal political map. So when they have come up with the new Nepal political map, and which was accepted from within the ruling party and from the opposition parties, but now we have seen the opposition parties are not liking the style of governance of KP Sharma Oli, and thereby he has identified that there could be some kind of threat or tensions to his political career, thereby he has recommended. So India would be keenly focusing on the political changes and the elections to be taken up, and how the relations between India and Nepal would further strengthen. And the another news is in regards to the NSCN IM. So we will looked at this news earlier also, that is in regards to the NSCM is Nationalist Socialist Council of Nagaland, and you have NSCM Nationalist Socialist Council of Nagaland, which is divided into NSCN-K and NSCN-IM. So the two groups or the two faction which has been divided or which has been out of NSCN, that is National Socialist Council of Nagaland, which is headed by K, that is Kaplang, one of the person, and which is headed by another group faction called as NSCN IM, that is Isak and Muwa. Isak and Muwa. So these are the two people who have been heading the another group which has been divided or segregated from the original group, that is NSCN, into NSCN-K and NSCN-IM. So now we will look at what NSCN-IM, the faction, one of the faction of NSCN which has been divided, the original group, they have allegedly punished one of the member. Here the news is NSCN-IM, Isak and Muwa, that group has punished one of its members. Why they have punished one of the members? Now this is the question we will look at, or we will look at why the NSCM has punished the member. Because the member of NSCM called as YS Mashungmi, he is from Tangul Naga, he is from a tribe of Tangul Naba, and he is from Manipur, Ukhrul district. And this person or the member of NSCN-IM has walked for 70 kilometers from Dimapur to Kohima. So what is the problem when he walks for 70 kilometers from Dimapur to Kohima? Because he has walked for 70 kilometers, that is the member of NSCN-IM, for spreading the message of peace. Look at it. Here he has walked for 70 kilometers for spreading the message of peace, and while he was spreading or taking a peace march, he has carried along with him flags of India and Nagaland. And this is now the concern. This is now the concern because he has carried the flags of India and Nagalim. Nagalim is what? This is what the Nagas, or especially NSC and IM, one of the faction, it wanted to have a separate or totally Nagaland inhabited areas to be covered as one area, that is called as Nagalim, as one state. So the Naga speaking people who are part of Nagaland, Assam, Manipur and also Arunachal Pradesh, the NSC and IM are wanting the Nagas inhabited areas to be brought under one called as Nagalim. So here the concern by the NSC and IM, why they have punished the one of the member, that is YS Mashungmi, because he was carrying the flags of India and Nagalim. So as he was carrying the flag of India, that was the concern. Now we will look at how the concern is raised, because in a statement which was made by NSC and IM on December 19, it said that the member which he has gone ahead with the peace march, which he has carried the flags of India and Nagalim, this he has done it without taking any authority into confidence, or else he hasn't taken the permission of the authority, that is NSC and IM main authority, and therein he has gone ahead with the peace march carrying both the flags of India and Nagaland is the concern. And the statement by the NSC and IM says that the conduct code has been violated by the member, that is Mashungmi, wherein he has gone ahead with taking a march that is called as peace march. So they say that the member was debriefed in the sense he was questioned and interrogated. Why he was questioned and interrogated? Because he has gone ahead with an unauthorized one-man operation. This is the main reason that the operation or the peace march was a one-man operation, wherein the issue was very sensitive and it had a political implication, because the Nagas issue is for almost 102 years the issue between the Union government, or else before, even in the colonial era, British India and also in independent India, the issue of Nagas is going on. So they say that it was a one-man operation and this had a sensitive political implication. That is why they have interrogated or questioned the member who has violated or he has taken the march without any confidence of the authority, and the daring venture of the member of the peace process. It amounts, the statement of the NSC and IM states that the peace process or the peace march, it amounts for violation of disciplinary code of conduct as per NSC and IM. So definitely it is against the code of conduct, wherein the member of the NSCN, that is Mashungmi, has gone ahead taking a 70-kilometer walk from Dimapur to Kohima of peace march carrying the national flags of India and Nagaland, which the statement by the NSC and IM states that the action itself is an unauthorized and it is a violation of disciplinary code of conduct. So this is again very crucial information in regards to the internal security for the mains examination, that is for the GS paper 3 internal security. Because here now we will look at what is Greater Nagalim, which is actually the NSC and IM is originally seeking that the Naga inhabited people from Assam, from Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur and also the adjoining areas of Myanmar. They wanted these areas, adjoining areas of Myanmar and from Arunachal Pradesh, Assam Nagaland and Manipur, Mizoram, they would be part of the Greater Nagalim. So this is the concern now. But the member here, one of the member of NSCM, Mashunmi, has gone ahead with 70-kilometer peace march, wherein he is going ahead with passing a message or spreading a message of peace, which is not liked by NSC and IM, because it has, or the member has, violated the disciplinary code of conduct and it is against the authority. So this is what, and this is the entire area is the Greater Nagalim. And the another news what we have is in regards to the monkey menace. So this is a keyword here, monkey menace. So this is again in regards to the environment, because the Telangana government has gone ahead with the rescue and rehabilitation center for monkeys. So again this is the key phrase which you need to focus. A rescue and a rehabilitation center for monkeys in Telangana has been inaugurated at Gandi Ramanna Haritavaram, wherein it is in the Nirmal district of Telangana in a village called as Chincholi village, and this has been inaugurated, that is the rescue and rehabilitation center for monkeys has been inaugurated on December 20, 2020. So now why is this been looked at? Because it is the solution for the monkey menace and it is a rescue and rehabilitation center for monkeys. So as this is a rehabilitation and rescue center, and this one which was in Telangana is the first in Telangana, and this is second of such facility, that is rescue and rehabilitation center for monkeys, which is across the country. It is the second one. So the first one, that is the first rescue and rehabilitation center for monkey, was taken up in Himachal Pradesh, and this rehabilitation center is in accordance with the sustainable habitat for the primates, that is for monkeys. So this is another keyword which you need to focus, that the rescue and rehabilitation center is in accordance with sustainable habitat. Please do understand this keyword. This is very important while you mention it in your short notes for the mains examination for the monkey menace, or it can be again in regards to the man versus animal. So we had earlier also man versus elephant. Now it is man versus monkey. So for the monkey menace, the government has gone ahead with the rescue and rehabilitation center, wherein this center will be as per or in accordance with the sustainable habitat. So what do you mean by sustainable habitat? That means the center, that is the rescue and rehabilitation center, will have several fruit and flowering plants and also various trees which provide shade for the monkeys, and also it will have, that is the center, rehabilitation center will have medicinal plants which will be grown, which is in toto the rehabilitation center would be sustainable habitat for monkeys. So this is the keyword which will be very, very important while you mention it in your mains answer, that is sustainable habitat as a part of rescue and rehabilitation center for monkeys. And Minister for Forest of Telangana, A. Indrakaran Reddy, has inaugurated the the rehabilitation and rescue center, and he has said that the monkeys which venture into human habitations, they would be caught in a phased manner, and the one which are caught in a phased manner would be brought to the rescue and rehabilitation center, and there they would be, that is the monkeys would be operated on a birth control. So this is a key word again. The monkeys which are being caught and brought to the center would be operated for birth control, and then they would be released into the forest after the rehabilitation period is over for the monkeys. So this is the process entire the solution for the monkey menace, wherein the Telangana government has taken up in regards to the rescue and rehabilitation center for monkeys, and this center will cost of 2.25 crore rupees, and the rehabilitation center, which is the first of its kind in South India, which has come up in Telangana, and the other one, or which was the first one in the entire country, has come up, or the state which has earlier rescue and rehabilitation center for monkey is Himachal Pradesh, which is first, and Telangana is the second state, but Telangana is the first in South India. So you have probable keywords which can be used for the prelims as well as mains examination from UPSC perspective. And now we have another news which is in regards to the coastal radar network. So this is the keyword which you need to focus, that India is wanting to bring many nations into coastal radar network. That is, India is certainly into the efforts of expanding the coastal radar chain network. So this is a network which is definitely getting into the mode, India getting into the mode of enabling a real-time monitoring of the high seas. So the coastal radar chain network would get into the mode to enable the real-time monitoring of high seas, whether there are any threats. And this coastal radar chain network will also expand India's assistance. So the CRCN will expand India's assistance for capacity building to Indian Ocean littoral states. So definitely India's assistance would be provided for the capacity building of the various countries in the Indian Ocean. So CRCN is the keyword here which you need to focus for the preliminary as well as mains examination, and this is again in regards to the internal security from GS paper 3 of mains examination, how India would be, or how India is definitely trying to have a real-time monitoring of the high seas in the Indian Ocean. And not only that, it is also trying to expand India's assistance to various countries in the capacity building to the Indian Ocean littoral states, and that is through the coastal radar chain network system. So this is the crucial information, and India is certainly getting into the mode of efforts wherein it is in the advanced stage to set up coastal radar stations in Maldives, Myanmar and Bangladesh. So the setting up of coastal radar stations is a keyword which is in the advanced stage, wherein India is making in efforts to set up in Maldives, Myanmar and Bangladesh, and the efforts are also already begun by India, which is integrating Mauritius, Seychelles and Sri Lanka into India's coastal radar chain network. So again, the coastal radar chain network system with the countries which are already integrated with CRCN with India is Mauritius, Seychelles and Sri Lanka. So this is the prelims perspective question from UPSC, as well as mains you can add it as part of the short notes. So the one which are in the advanced stage to be set up, the coastal radar stations, are with the countries that is Maldives, Myanmar and Bangladesh, and the one which have already been integrated with India with the India's coastal radar chain network are the countries Mauritius, Seychelles and Sri Lanka. So this you need to segregate that and make it that part of the mains answer. And definitely there are various plans which are in the pipeline, that there is discussions going on along with the other countries. So the plans of setting up or integrating various countries into the CRCN network or else coastal radar chain network system that is Maldives and Myanmar are in the pipeline, and the discussions are going on to integrate Bangladesh and Thailand with India's coastal radar chain network system. And you have navies or Indian navies system which is located, that is Information Management and Analysis Center. So this Information Management and Analysis Center is located in Gurugram, which is India's Navy's IMAC, which is located in Gurugram, and this was set up, that means IMAC, Information Management and Analysis Center, was set up after the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, and this IMAC acts as a nodal agency for maritime data fusion. So there are various keywords which you need to focus for the preliminary and also to make it that it would be impressive in your mains answer. So IMAC is the keyword here, and it is a nodal agency for maritime data fusion. And Indian Navy, in regards to information exchange of the traffic on the high seas, the Indian Navy has been authorized by the government. That means the government of India has authorized the Indian Navy for the information exchange of the traffics on the Indian Ocean, so that the Indian Navy has concluded an agreement, and this agreement is called as White Shipping Agreement. So this is the keyword that we need to focus, that the Indian Navy has had or concluded the White Shipping Agreement with 36 countries and 3 multilateral constructs. So the White Shipping Agreement is the keyword that we need to focus, that India has concluded with 36 countries, which would be part of the information exchange of or regarding traffic on the Indian Ocean. And India has also gone ahead with these White Shipping Agreements, which have been concluded with 22 countries and 1 multilateral construct. Authorization was given by the government of India towards Indian Navy for concluding the White Shipping Agreement for 36 countries, but agreements which have been concluded by the Indian Navy is with 22 countries and 1 multilateral construct. So this is again very crucial in regards to the IMAC, nodal agency, and then information exchange, maritime data fusion, and then White Shipping Agreement. So these are all the keywords which you need to focus. And there is another center for the Navy that is called as Information Fusion Center for Indian Ocean region. So what is this center for? Information fusion, fusioning the information, and that center is for the Indian Ocean region. And what does this IFC IOR promotes? It promotes maritime domain awareness. So it is the maritime domain awareness it provides, that is, it will have the data, and that data will be fused, and maritime domain awareness will be promoted by IFC IOR. So again, this is the preliminary conceptual question and also part of your short notes. And we have another 3 more ILO, that is International Liaison Officers, who are expected to join the IFC IOR. And the International Liaison Officers who have already joined the IFC IOR are from the country, that is liaison officers from France, Japan and US have joined the IFC IOR, and there are various other additional officers from various countries which are supposed to join the IFC IOR but have been delayed due to COVID-19. And there are 2 phases wherein the coastal radar chain network system would be taken up. That is, under phase 1, 46 coastal radar stations have been set up across countries' coastal line, and under phase 2, there are underway, that is 38 static radar stations and 4 mobile radar stations are being set up by the Coast Guard and which are in the advanced stage. So definitely the entire coastal radar chain network system which is being taken up by the government or by the Indian Navy is under two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. Under phase 1, 46 coastal radar stations have already been set up across the country, and under phase 2, 38 static radar stations and 4 mobile stations would be set up by the Coast Guard. So this is the crucial information for the coastal radar chain network system, which India would be having its assistance or real-time monitoring of the Indian Ocean, and it will also go ahead with capacity building to the Indian Ocean littoral states. And there is another news which talks about the tribals. So definitely we are talking about Sentinel Island, wherein the tribes, that is Sentinelese, the tribes, if there are or if there is any kind of commercial or strategic gain and exploitation of the Sentinel Island, then it would be a death knell for the tribals who are in the Sentinel Island. So this has been said by Anthropological Survey of India, ANSI, and it says that any exploitation of the North Sentinel Island of the Andaman Nicobar or Andamans, which would be for commercial or any strategic gain, would be a death knell for the occupants, that is to the Sentinels. And the Sentinels are the most secluded tribals, and they reside in the complete isolation of the Sentinel or the Sentinel Island or North Sentinel Island. And these Sentinels, who are the tribals who are mostly secluded, are called as particularly vulnerable tribal group, that is PG or PVTG. This is a keyword here again, that which among the following are considered as the particularly vulnerable tribal group. Here in our discussion, it is the Sentinelese who are the most secluded and they are particularly vulnerable tribal group. I have also discussed the particularly vulnerable tribal groups who are also in Odisha. This we have focused in regards to the COVID-19, that is the tribals who have been infected by SARS-CoV-2 also. Then also have discussed about the particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So this is a keyword again which can be part of your prelims and mains examination of UPSC. And the Anthropological Survey of India has come up with the policy document for protecting the tribals, that is Sentinels, who are PVTG, and the policy document has come after 2 years after American national, that is John Allen Chow, was allegedly killed by the Sentinels. And the policy document by the ANSI, that is the Anthropological Survey of India, it says very clearly that the right of the people, that is Sentinels tribes, to the island is non-negotiable. So there could be a question, that the question could be the statement in the mains. The Anthropological Survey of India's policy document says the right of the people to the island is non-negotiable. Comment or discuss. So there could be a question. The right of the Sentinels tribe to the North Sentinel Island is non-negotiable. So this could be a probable question for the mains 2020 also. And the policy document by ANSI says this, that the rights of the Sentinels are unassailable, non-negotiable and unfringible. So look at it, the policy documents very clearly states that they should be protected and they should not be invaded. The tribals should not be invaded. And the document also says that the prime duty of the state is to protect the rights of the Sentinels, as the rights should be eternal and the rights of the tribe should be sacrosanct. So definitely the policy document by ANSC is providing or making it very clear the need of the hour to protect the rights of the Sentinels tribes. And the document says that the North Sentinel Island in the Andamans should not be eyed, should not be focused for any commercial or strategic gain. And the document also calls for building a knowledge bank. This is the keyword. Which among the following statements are incorrect in regards to the ANSI policy document regards to Sentinels tribes? So the policy document has called for, or it has requested, or it has recommended for building a knowledge bank. So this is the important one. Knowledge bank is the keyword which the policy document has recommended for knowledge bank on the Sentinels. And also it has recommended for maintaining the territorial integrity of North Sentinel Island, so that there should not be any kind of barging into or infiltrating into the North Sentinel Island, thereby protecting the rights of the Sentinels tribes. So these are the Sentinels tribes in the North Sentinel Island. So these are the one who have allegedly killed the national named as John Allen Chow. So John Allen Chow is this person, but he was killed by the Sentinels. Thereby, now the ANSI has come up with the policy document to protect the rights of the tribals. So here the point what you need to focus is that the right of these people is non-negotiable, that is the Sentinels, and should protect the rights of the Sentinels tribes. The policy documents very clearly states. And this is the first detailed policy draft on the Sentinels Island. So it is the first of its kind by the ANSI to come up with the detailed policy draft. And ANSI has come up with the policy draft by the request of the Andaman Nicobar Island Administration. By the request of the Andaman Nicobar Island Administration, ANSI has come up with the detailed policy draft, and the Sentinels have a population of around 50 to 100 on the North Sentinel Island, and they are the most isolated, particularly vulnerable groups. As we have discussed, these are the particularly vulnerable tribal groups in the country itself or across the country. And the Sentinels in the Andaman Nicobar Islands, the Sentinels tribes are one among the 5 tribes in the Andaman Nicobar Islands. So there are 5 tribes or 5 tribals in the Andaman Nicobar Islands, and the Sentinels are one among the 5. And apart from Sentinels tribes, the others are Great Andamanis, the Onge, the Jarawa, and then the 5th tribe is Shompens. So again, this is the keyword which will be useful for the preliminary examination. That the question could be framed as saying that which among the following tribals are not part of the Andaman Nicobar Islands? Or which among the following are part of the Andaman Nicobar Islands? They could be Sentinelese and then Great Andamans, and then Sentinelese, Great Andamans and Aunch, Sentinelese, Great Andamans and Jarawa, Sentinelese, Great Andamans, Aunch, and then Jarawats and Champions, and none of the above. So here you have the 5 tribes of the in the Andaman Nicobar Islands, wherein they are Sentinelese, the Great Andamans, and then the Aunch, the Jarawa, and the Champions. And the ANSI has also suggested through the detailed policy draft that the study of the culture would be from distance itself. The study of the culture of Sentinelese would be from distance, and on the spot, that is on the spot study is not possible for the tribal communities. So that is what anthropologists have suggested in regards to the study of the culture in the detailed policy draft by the ANSI for protecting the rights of the Sentinelese tribes. And now we will look at the recapitulate of the DNA. This in regards to, we have looked at focusing on the relation between India and Nepal, that what political changes are taking up in Nepal and how it will impact the India and Nepal bilateral relations. And NSC and IM, we have focused this in regards to the internal security from GS paper 3 mains examination. And this is again, we have focused this news in regards to the monkey menace, that is rescue and rehabilitation center for monkeys, and this is for current affairs. And in regards to the animal versus man or man versus animal, we have looked at elephant versus man, human being, and now monkey versus man. So for that, rehabilitation centers have been started, and it was in Telangana, which is for the first time in South India. And apart from Telangana, the first state is Himachal Pradesh. And this is in regards to the coastal radar chain network system, which is again in regards to the internal security, protecting the coastal areas, and then bringing the, or India assisting the littoral countries of Indian Ocean in regards to the capacity building. And then we have looked at this as the Sentinel Islands, any exploitation for the tribals, that is Sentinelese. And this can be again in regards to the particularly vulnerable tribal group from the prelims as well as mains examinations on the topic of tribals society, Indian society, for the mains examination. So we have focused the recapitulation of the DNA, which definitely I feel this is an informative, knowledgeable session from mains and prelims perspective, macro and micro level. So I would say a very big thank you and a good luck to you all. Do maintain consistency, stick to your schedule, and take care of your physical health and mental health. And do not forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe the AKS IAS Academy English medium YouTube channel, and also the website and Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy. And then I would see you again tomorrow with the daily news analysis. And I hope this session was informative, knowledgeable, and then do take the benefit of the DNA from the AKS IAS Academy. Thank you very much.